Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today we're going hyper-focused. We're looking at a collection of environmental vocabulary, and it's specifically chosen for anyone prepping for the IELTS exam.
Oh, yeah, the IELTS.
Exactly. That test that often opens doors for international study or work. But even if you aren't taking the IELTS,
Yeah,
this vocab list is still super relevant because understanding how to use these words is essential for discussing environmental issues.
absolutely. In any context.
Exactly. And let's be honest, vocab lists don't always scream excitement,
True.
but we are going to try to make this one surprisingly engaging as we breathe life into each word. Ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
All right. The first word on our list is biodiversity. It basically means the variety of life you find on Earth. Think different species of plants and animals in a particular place.
Right. And the source gives us a really simple example to illustrate this. The rich and diverse biodiversity of our planet must be protected.
Exactly. The next word is carbon dioxide, or co-euro as it's often written.
The gas we exhale. And it's also released when fossil fuels are burned.
Yeah, the source provides a couple of examples here. The burning of fossil fuels releases large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which leads to global warming.
Right.
And this one, trees absorb carbon dioxide. Okay. The next word is climate.
Refers to the long-term weather patterns you see in a region. Not just today's forecast, but the overall trends over a long period of time.
Right. The source gives us the example. The Mediterranean region tends to have a mild climate over the winter. Okay, the next word on the list is climate change.
This is about long-term shifts in those global climate patterns we just talked about. And many scientists believe these shifts are mostly due to human activities, especially since the mid-20th century.
Makes sense. And the source gives us a couple more examples here. The climate around the world has been changing rapidly over the last decade.
Wow.
And climate change is one of the most serious problems that the world is facing today.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one. Next up is contamination.
This is when something becomes impure or polluted.
Exactly. And the source provides a couple of examples that really drive that point home. The water has been contaminated by the release of toxic chemicals into the river,
Right.
and the water supply is being tested for contamination,
The next word on our list is deforestation.
which is simply the clearing of forests for other uses.
And as the source points out, this is a problem because deforestation is destroying animal habitats.
Sad but true. The next word is drought.
A drought is when there's way less rainfall than average for a long period of time, which of course leads to water shortages.
Right. And the example given is the severe drought this year has led to the loss of many lives.
Okay. The next word is ecosystem.
An ecosystem is a community of living organisms and their physical environment all interacting together.
The community, yeah. And the source gives us a couple of examples to illustrate this. The world has a delicately balanced ecosystem, and pollution can damage this.
Right.
And the marine ecosystem was badly damaged by the oil spill.
The next word is emission.
In an environmental context, I think of this as the release of harmful things into the air, especially gases.
Yeah. And the source gives us these examples. Emissions from car exhausts cause pollution around cities.
Right.
Carbon dioxide emissions must be reduced.
Next on the list is the environment.
This refers to all the living and non-living things that surround us and how they interact.
Right. And the source provides these examples.
Hmm.
More must be done to protect the environment from pollution.
For sure.
And environmental problems are becoming very severe in many countries. The next word on the list is erosion.
This is the gradual wearing away or breakdown of something, usually soil or rock.
Okay. And the source gives us this example. Over-farming causes soil erosion.
Makes sense. Next up, fossil fuels.
Fossil fuels are energy sources like coal, oil, and natural gas that formed over millions of years from the remains of ancient organisms.
And the source gives us this sentence. Some people do not believe that humans' reliance on fossil fuels is to blame for global warming.
Interesting. Okay, moving on to the next word. Global warming.
This is the increase in the Earth's average temperature, primarily caused by higher concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, right?
Right. And the source gives this example. Deforestation is contributing to global warming because trees absorb carbon dioxide.
Next up is greenhouse effect.
The greenhouse effect is a natural process where certain gases in the atmosphere trap heat from the sun, warming the Earth.
Yeah, the source gives us these examples. The greenhouse effect contributes to global warming, and reducing emissions can help mitigate the greenhouse effect. The next word is habitat.
A habitat is the natural environment where a particular species lives, providing what it needs to survive.
Right, and the example sentence given is, with so many areas of woodland being cut down, a lot of wildlife is losing its natural habitat.
Okay, next up is pollution.
This is the contamination of the environment with harmful
The
substances.
source gives these examples. Environmental pollution must be a top priority for governments. And the air around the factory is very polluted.
The next word is renewable energy.
Renewable energy sources are naturally replenished, unlike fossil fuels, which are finite.
And the source gives these examples. Renewable energy is key to reducing reliance on fossil fuels.
Gotcha.
And wind farms are a growing source of renewable energy.
Next on the list is sustainable.
Something is considered sustainable if it can continue for the long term without depleting resources or harming the environment.
Makes sense. And the example provided is, countries need to promote sustainable development in order to protect the environment from further damage. The next word is toxic.
Meaning poisonous or harmful to living organisms.
The source gives these examples. The dumping of toxic waste has contaminated the area,
Right.
and leaded fuel from cars releases toxins into the air, which can affect the brain.
Okay. The next word is waste.
Waste just refers to unwanted or unusable materials.
And the source provides this example. The Green Party opposes any kind of nuclear waste being dumped at sea.
Water conservation.
This is about using water efficiently to reduce unnecessary consumption.
Right. The source gives these examples. Water conservation is essential in areas affected by drought, and installing rainwater harvesting systems helps in water conservation.
Okay. And there we have it. We made it through the entire list of IELTS environment vocabulary. Phew. Yeah, that was quite the deep dive into some key environmental terms.
It really was, and even though we focus primarily on definitions and examples, I feel much more prepared to discuss these topics now. How about you?
Absolutely. And remember, the ability to communicate clearly about environmental issues is essential, whether you're preparing for an exam or simply engaging in conversations about the world around us.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this vocabulary journey, everyone. We hope you feel empowered to use these words to discuss, debate, and advocate for the environment.
Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.